is 100% listener supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for $100.
Hi, it's Christine Joanna Hart Show. Hi, sorry about that. We were a little bit delayed with the start. Max, are you there with us?
Christine, yes, I'm here.
Oh, excellent.
Brilliant. Yes.
It's all been a bit rushed this morning. Morning, everybody. It's bright and early over here in London. We've got a hot sunny day. I was outside, so a little bit delirious coming in from the hot sunshine. So how are you, Max? Whereabouts are you today? Down in...
I'm in Kent. I'm in Kent, yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, it's sunny. It's sunny here. It's definitely cold, though. It's definitely got a cold wind coming.
Oh, really? It's quite warm here. I've got the window open. I was sitting out in the garden. It's.
You're lucky. You are lucky.
I think you're further down south, aren't you? Canterbury?
Yeah, exactly. So that's southeast, is pretty much as far southeast as you can go.
Oh, right. You're quite near our other guest, Miles Johnson. Waves over to Miles. Miles, are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
I logged in and it was the other way around.
Okay.
I'm probably closer to New York than Max is closer.
You're in the southwest, Miles, aren't you?
I'm near Bristol. I'm in the middle of the south.
Yeah. I know where you are. Yes.
Which is about 200 miles away from Max.
Yeah. Yep.
And right. Christine is sitting in the sunshine in the city of London, all happy and dandy. And it's
now, Christine, are you in the city of London or are you in just London?
Oh, just outside Richmond. Do you know Richmond?
Yeah, I do. It's off the tube. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
Very, very upmarket area. Very, very smart people there. Very sort of yoga mum area.
I came here when I was working for The Sun, so I had plenty of money. They tend to throw money at you. And I got a sack over Heather Mills, actually. Great big. Somebody had a job. Well, a chap called Nick Parker, who's still there, had a job to find out was she donating all her money to charity, and he performed this massive scam on her, sending her all these fake emails. But they ended up having News International on them, and then he gave me the orders to take a call from her. So I got a final call from Heather, and she just completely ripped into me, then pinned me on her website, and The Sun said, "Oh, you should have hung up on her." And after 6 years of working for them, before that, their sister paper, The News of the World, they pushed me out of the nest. Very sad. That was a few years ago.
When did that happen?
2008.
That's interesting. That was the time when all the things happened to me. Like a massive awakening happened in March of 2008. So it was a big year.
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
absolutely. I would concur with that, Max. An awful lot of people. Somebody like, for instance, Gary Heseltine is a prominent member of the UFO community here. Ben Enmil Jones also had their careers specifically steered so they would essentially spend an awful lot of time on this very subject we're talking about, as if by a guiding hand we're being put into the position to tell people what's going on.
Well, this particular thing happening now between the three of us is sort of creating itself. It's sort of somehow building itself as it goes along. Something is creating it outside of us.
How interesting. I had, because I came across you, Max, on Miles Johnson's basis. Is obviously the listeners know, hopefully they know, Miles Johnson runs a basis series for experiencers in Monarch Mind Control.
Yes.
And alien who've had alien experiences. And I came across that by accident. I'd published a book by Random House, In for the Kill, and I'd always been interested. That was about my life and about meeting the two serial killers, Ian Brady and Kenneth Bianchi, in America. And I'd always been interested in aliens, and I Googled Area 51 aliens, and I read something written by a guy called Fritz Springmeier.
I know Fritz. I'm friends with Fritz, yes.
And I didn't know he had anything to do with mind control. And somebody said, oh, he's on Facebook. So I joined him on Facebook. And then this woman came along called Anna Hart, an American. And she said to me, oh, I mentioned my book on there and put the cover on it. She read the book and she said, you've been a victim of mind control. And I thought, oh, here's this crazy American, and what a load of nonsense. Mind control, there's no such thing. I didn't realize Fritz was the lead person in it. And she said, well, I'm going to put you in a little group, you can write about it if you like, and she put me in this group. I still didn't believe in it, but then talking to the other people in there about things like having blocks in your mind when you try to go back and have memories, I sort of came to the conclusion that I might have had it done. So Googling the whole thing, then I found you, Max, your testimony on Miles Johnson's site. I think it's basis. What basis is it, Miles?
37.
Oh, 30.
Well, I've done a few, but 37 was the big one.
37.
And then we did another one which was on the entertainment industry. Miles and I did.
Oh, yes. And they were brilliant. And just listening to you, it was, firstly, I knew everything you were saying was true. And thirdly, it really, really triggered me, especially the Minotaur stuff. And then when you bit into the sandwich and you tasted metal, it really triggered me horribly. And it just did. And
they set everything up, and all this is done in 4D. So it's all done in what you would call dream time or the astral realm. They don't do most of the things in like real time 3D. So when you go into dream time, that's when most of the stuff is done. So all the meetings, all the governmental meetings, all the political meetings are done in the 4D, in the lower 4D. They gather together in the lower fourth dimension and do their work there.
Oh, I see. Are they, because I grew up in a Vatican-run orphanage that was run by Bishop Philip Harvey, and I was adopted when I was 5, but they kept, it was to a Catholic family, and at the head of it was a nun, and so I had a lot of convent upbringing. Is that... It's odd. I can't work out how the Vatican can be linked with the intelligence.
Well, the Vatican is military intelligence in and of itself. They're pretty much the leading power of what's going on. The Pope is obviously just a figurehead and really not in any power, really. The power is kept hidden, so anything that is seen is never the ones that are in control. They have the seen and then the unseen. So they use the as above, so below in everything that they do. So the real control and the real power is never seen.
Oh, right, interesting. I thought my memories of sexual abuse and memories of group sexual abuse, I pinned it all on my adopted father, and I actually wrote it in my first book, Searching for Daddy, that was a Sunday Times bestseller, about, my adopted father did this, did that, and, but now looking back, they say that they put that in as a cover memory for the for what the others are doing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so screen memories are a big thing. And I think a lot now. Now I've come to the conclusion a lot of the abductions that go on, a lot of the quote unquote grey abductions that go on, are actually MILAB or military abduction experiences, and they dress up or they make it seem like it's greys that are abducting you, but in fact it's military. So they want you to think that it's that. I believe there are genuine Zeta abductions, but I would say 70 to 80% are military abductions, feigning being greys.
Yeah, Max, that's actually the key source to what I started doing bases on way back in '94. There's a security guard called Barry King.
Yeah, I know.
Said that was a base in Berkshire.
Peasmore,
where,
right?
Peasmore, AL499 and RAF Welford and the Rutherford Appleton Labs and Boscombe Down and Porton Down. And the whole point of that was to do just what you just said, to create this illusion. Yeah,
and the illusion is very important, because what it's done is it's pervaded all across the planet. People are now having this imagery of these zetas everywhere, these grey-looking things with the almond eyes, and people are thinking, well, that's what it is. Who are these people? When in fact, the majority of them are military abductions. It's a military thing that's going on, which is connected to creating a new race, a new. They're trying to hybridize two different types of streams of DNA, so that they can create a new world slave, an androgynous new world slave.
Well, that's exactly what another colleague, I call him the Miracle Man, or the Coincidence Man, and he was on the Falklands War. And if you look at Angela Power Disney, who was one of the children abused in the bases here in Berkshire, near Bath, and him, they almost look as if they're clones, but both are involved in this program. One of them is a thing called Project Oak Tree.
Yes, Oak Tree. I know Oak Tree. Oh, yes, I think we talked about Oak Tree before, and Oak Tree was, from what I understand, was set in the 50s and early 60s, looking for specific DNA streams. They're looking for, I've talked about the tribe of Dan before, and the tribe of Dan is really the tribe of DNA. If you just switch the A and the N around, you have DNA. They're looking for the specific DNA which has abilities. Gifts, abilities, psychic abilities, and they're looking for that. So they tracked down mothers who had that, and then from there they were putting together in labs specific DNA, mixing it together, putting it in the womb of the mother, and then creating these children. There was a show in the 60s called The Tomorrow People, and they've picked groups of children who are then now put in positions. So they've trained them. Some of them would be super soldiers. Some of them would be serial killers. Some of them would be in the entertainment industry. Some of them would be in politicians. So they place them in all different positions, and each one has this specific DNA, so that they can be in a position of power and further the agenda.
Oh, so you've just described. I don't want to hog this, but you just described me, Max, because my mother was a 13-year-old schoolgirl, and I always find it weird that it was the 60s and she was out sleeping around, because she was a very devout Catholic schoolgirl. She got pregnant at 13. She had me at 14, and then there was a priest involved. I tracked her down, and she told me who the father was. I met this guy, and he did remember. He was older. He did remember having sex with her. He didn't think he got her pregnant. Now, this guy had brown eyes and brown hair, and my so-called mother had brown eyes and brown hair, and I'm a blue-eyed blonde. And I looked at this guy and I thought, you're not my father. I said, you can't be my father. I've studied this, because you're brown and brown. And neither of them looked like me either. And also she said she had her baby on the 15th and I was supposedly born on the 16th. And I just found it really odd. She said there was a priest involved right from the start. So, and then they took me, basically there was a big scenario, and she was forced to have me in a mother and baby home. Then she ran off with me, and then she kind of left me somewhere. So there was a real kind of mix-up thing where I don't think I was hers, you know?
When they're making the children, these are made in labs, and when they take a small amount of the DNA, because they're placing these children in families. So they'll put them in the womb of a mother and put them into a specific family. They have to put a tiny amount of DNA of the mother and father that the family they're being placed into, so that they look a little bit like them. Otherwise, it would look too strange if the child looked nothing like the parents. So they have to place. It's done. This is done very technically in a lab. So they have to make it look a little bit like the parents. Otherwise, it's gonna look very, very odd if the child looks nothing like the parents.
Well, that's odd, because the family I was placed into, the adoptive family, they were a military family.
Yes.
And the grandfather took over bringing me up for a while, and he looks like me. And oddly, I just found a picture of him when my mother died. I looked in the attic, there was a picture of him, and I just feel really, really drawn to it. And I'm looking at it now. He's dressed in full military garb, and I feel really strongly drawn to it. And I don't know if they used his DNA, maybe.
Yeah, they very well could have done. They very well could have done. At the end of the Second World War, they had perfected doing that. Mengele had done so much experimentation on exactly, making these children that you could be right. You could be right on with that.
And so, gosh, this is so creepy.
Yeah, well, this is the whole point about. I'm sorry to butt in.
Okay.
Mengele, that the Germans were involved with doing these transgenic beings here in Wiltshire during the war.
Mengele was working with. Believe it or not, Mengele was working with Crowley too. He was they were working together. And remember this, they have age regression technology. They had that certainly by the 50s. So Mengele and the rest of those Nazis are still alive. They've used, they should be 100+ years old, but they have age regressed themselves into their 50s. And they're still here continuing the work.
Can I ask you, Max? Whenever I saw you, whenever I would listen to one of your you speaking, and sometimes it was with James Casbolt, but I think it was coming from you. I was really triggered. Like one time when I was listening to you, I felt a bump at the top of my head where the third eye is, and I went to sleep and I had a really strong lucid dream about being a Nazi, not a sort of head Nazi, but just a soldier in Treblinka. I know it's Treblinka because the man I was talking to said, "Are you okay? You pull yourself together or he'll tell you off." And someone said something about Treblinka. And then a second time I had the same memory of being on a bus, and I was old, and it was after the war and worrying about being caught. But I was a low level, but definitely a Nazi. And oh God.
I think within the words, because of what's happened to me, within the words that I say, when somebody has a conversation with somebody about this, there's more than just the words that are being said. There, within the tone and behind the words, there may be 2 or 3 different conversations going on within the one conversation. So that could well have a truth could have come out and triggered you to have a memory. It may not even have been the words that I said. It could have been behind the words that I said. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So why are we, because Casbolt said something about that, why are we, because I felt embarrassed to have that knowledge of being a Nazi in my past. Do they harvest, why is there a Nazi connection in us? Surely we're the victims.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know why. I know that they're, I don't know why. I can't answer that question. I don't know why. There's so many screen memories that have been placed over events that have happened in my life. It's very difficult to identify exactly what happened. And that's what I was talking about in 2008. What happened to me is I had 4 or 5 different streams of memory that came through, and they all sort of blended through at the same time. So it was very difficult for me to identify what really happened in my life, because they've been messing around with timelines so much that they sort of have blended. We're coming to a point where all of the timelines, all the streams, have coming back into one. And now we're at a point where they have to implement their new world order now. Otherwise, the window is going to close and they won't be able to do it. So there's a massive rush for them to finish it up. And it is to do with they want to have a new world order slave that is androgynous. So that's why they're pushing the androgynous card so much. With people like so you have, for example, just for an example, you have Lady Gaga, who's now like the biggest entertainment star in the world. When you have millions and millions and millions of people giving their energy to her when they watch her on TV or see her in a magazine, when she's actually androgynous herself. And so we were giving energy to her without knowing that she is. By doing that, then we're starting to manifest that it's that's okay, that's the right thing.
Yeah, this whole point about this. Yeah, this is the whole point about this.
The Baphomet is what they worship. Okay, the Baphomet is the archetype of the androgynous being. And so we have now multiple people in the entertainment industry who we think are actually male or female, but are in fact androgynous.
Right. Interesting. You mentioned serial killers about when they did this, some of them became serial killers.
Yeah.
And
yes.
The ones that I met, because I met Brady when I was really young, and I met Bianchi fairly recently. They had alters, and it was only one of their alters that did the killing. And I didn't know about mind control then. Definitely with Bianchi, he was swapping when I was meeting him, and he's got the child. I think the child in him, the sort of about 13-year-old child, was the one that they programmed to kill, and it's not very attached to his body. It just kind of, I think, comes down when the opportunity lends itself. Is someone like him definitely been tampered with?
All of the serial killers that we know, all the main ones, all the ones that we think of, in the serial killer books that you can buy, Gacy, I can't think of all their names now. All of those people were programmed in, most of them in the Dulce base from when they were children. So they were none of them were just random people who got upset and then started to kill people. They were all
but Max, what about the Cray twins?
Okay, that's a very interesting
and
subject.
The whole East End.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk.
Barbara Windsor, BBC, all that. Yeah. Okay.
Can I just go back to Miles? Can I just go back to the serial killers just for one sec? Because I've met these guys, and I've got that blotted on my CV. I didn't want to meet serial killers, but there you go. I mean, I was drawn to go and see them. Do you know why that was, Max?
Why you were drawn to go and see them? Because you have a fascination with serial killers, don't you?
Not that it was.
I thought I talked to you about that before, and you sort of were you were fascinated by them. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, not me. No. What it was, I was dying to find out what caused it, and literally, I had this obsession with finding out why they did it. And
it's quite easy to create it. I mean, they know how to do it. So you get the child before the age of 3,
right,
and then you do specific things. I don't really want to go into the nastiness of it, but there's specific things that you do, but it has to be done before the age of 3, right. And you can create specific alters that will then be what we call "quote unquote" serial killers.
And now, what's the point of that, though?
Well, because it creates chaos. And it creates a massive fear energy across the country. If you have, for example, in California, or let's say New York, you had the Son of Sam killing. You have everybody in New York terrified because they think they don't want to. They think that maybe they're going to be next. So it's a way to create massive fear.
Huh, interesting.
And if you hold people in fear vibration, then they're not going to be able to create and manifest what they're supposed to manifest. That's the whole point, to keep everybody in a fear vibration.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to ask you as well. I discovered recently a part of me that was kept in the astral and kept separate from me, and
Yes.
I made contact with it, and it was actually busy fighting. I mean, it was busy. It's kind of unbelievable, even as I'm saying it, and I understand why listeners would think, "Wow, that sounds like a load of crap." But it was a part of me that that was taken from me, and I remember when it was taken at age 13. It just left me, and it's been busy on the astral working, basically, which I find like...
I think a few of us have okay, so when the energy body or essence or of spirit comes into the body, I think some of us have such a high energy that we fit into multiple bodies. So it could be that it could be of two things. One, they could have specifically separated a part of you so that you were disconnected from that, so that you wouldn't be able to be whole, so that you would spend your life feeling like you were never fully whole. That could be one reason, or another reason could be that you chose to do that yourself, and that a part of you chose to separate off and go and work in the astral for all this time.
No, I think I think they cut it off at age 13, and it was age 13 I found the book on Brady, and it was like I wanted to find out what had happened to him so I could heal what had happened to me. And I thought these serial killers were, well, only two of them I went to go and see, and above other, I was also looking in other, I was always looking for a key or for that part of my missing part of myself, how to get it back. And I eventually found it, obviously, through writing one of the books, I suppose, so I was on the right path. And also Aquino, Colonel Michael Aquino. Now, I only found out about him through Anna Hart. She was talking about him. She brought up his name.
Aquino.
Sorry, Aquino. And she was in the middle of telling me to try and get this part of me to write. And she said, buy a lovely book and a pen and try and write. So the only thing that I managed to get that part of me, because I can't really connect with it, is Project Aquino. That's all she wrote in the book, Project Aquino. And when this woman, Anna Hart, she said, you mustn't contact him under any circumstances. And then another friend of mine said, oh, he's an occultist, don't go near him. But it was too late. I sent this email, and, I said, I'm a journalist. I want to...
The Order of the Trapezoid.
What?
The Order of the Trapezoid is what Aquino is involved in, and that's what he showed to you, the Trapezoid, where you could go into anywhere, in any time, in any place.
Right. But why did he appear to me as a white rabbit? I don't get that either.
Well, because that's symbolic of going down the rabbit hole. That's him telling you symbolically that you come down the rabbit hole with me. I can show you anything you want.
Oh, right. Weird. So weird, isn't it? The whole bloody thing.
It is pretty weird. It is pretty weird. I would be very, very careful with that, because if a white rabbit is very symbolic of once you go down the rabbit hole that way, if you do follow the white rabbit, I know a lot of people that never actually came out again.
Oh, creepy. What? So what is the white rabbit again? Explain it.
Symbolically, it comes from the Alice in Wonderland programming. Uh-huh. So, the two main MK programming bases that they use are Alice in Wonderland. They use Peter Pan a lot as well. Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, and The Wizard of Oz. So it seems to me that you're connected with the Alice in Wonderland programming. Actually, if you follow Johnny Depp's movies, you'll see a lot of... all of his movies are showing programming-based movies, but he did the Alice in Wonderland movie too. It seems as though that you have Alice in Wonderland programming, and that he appeared as a white rabbit because he knows that you have that programming.
Oh, I see. How did he know that?
I don't want to put myself in a position where I start talking about that to do with him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
because
because I know you're going to have Mr. Aquino on your show, and you know, it's not for me really to say that for now.
right. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. When I came across you, I got the
Yes.
feeling that you were the Mad Hatter, and it stuck in my head. And
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah, yeah. Well, the Mad Hatter represents in tarot the magician. So that's interesting.
So are we these tomorrow people? Because I don't feel like a tomorrow person, because the way I see it, if you're a tomorrow person, you'd go out and win the lottery and you'd be like mega rich.
What? Because you think that it's based on money? You think do you think that is that what that is?
I don't know. I would just think that someone who's a tomorrow person would have powers and then would make themselves rich.
Well, I think that people on that level of vibration understand that having a lot of money isn't the way to go. So that having a massive amount of money also, you know, money is energy, and so if you have to have a lot of money means that there has to be a lot of other people who don't have any money, because it makes it out. There has to be balance. So that if you're in that vibration, then you know having a vast amount of money would mean that there would be millions of other people in poverty.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Christine, that's why you don't have any money at the moment. You're being given that vibration.
What do you mean?
Well, that's why you're broke right now. You're being given that experience because you're looking at the money energy. You don't have it, so it's being given as a. This is an example. It's been given to you as a personal experience.
I totally agree with you.
Oh, that's interesting, because I did have a lot of money working for 2 decades for the press. They throw money at you. Just throw it at you. Yes. And then all of a sudden not having it, it's made me, but I became really arrogant. I just really did think I was better than other people. And it's like being in a cult, and I felt out of touch with normal people because I just felt, well, I'm superior. And it does have you in that tight Murdoch cult, and you feel part of it. So sort of,
that's
you know,
that's that energy force feels that energy, the energy force that controls this planet is pure arrogance. That's what they are. I mean, that's what they feel. They feel like they're they look on the goyim, quote unquote goyim, which is the masses, as peons, as nothing. And it benefits them. The more people who have nothing means that they have more, because it's an energy balance on the planet. Money is just time and energy. So it benefits them to make more people have less money, because then they have more money.
So are we breaking out of our programming? So they've wasted time, haven't they, in programming us, because now we're not going to work to their agenda. Couldn't they work that one out, or are we programmed and this is part of it?
They knew this was going to happen anyway. They knew that there was going to be an awakening, and so they are putting into place and putting their chess pieces into positions to try and stop that from happening. That's why there's cell phone towers placed everywhere. That's why they're pushing the transhumanism agenda, to make sure that as much as they can that people don't wake up. And remember, this is a war on the heart. This is an attack on the heart. They have control of every other chakra or energy point of the body. They've controlled the base. They control the base energy very easily. That's the easiest point to get to, which is anything primal. All the primal urges that we have, it's very easy for them to control that. They control the sacral energy. They control the third eye energy, but they can't control the heart. And for them to completely control this planet, they have to break and control the heart. And they are doing the best they can to do that.
Didn't they oversee, though, people like us waking up, or and blowing the whistle on it, or
They knew that was going to happen. They knew that was going to happen, but they are countering it by doing what they're doing.
what?
They're pushing they're making the masses. So it's to do with the collective.
Right.
Okay, so there's a few of us who are having this conversation, and this is affecting a few of us, but the masses have no idea that this is going on. So they're relying on the fact that the rest will push it through, and we won't be able to get this information through to them.
Oh, I see. And of course, we sound like nuts because they've put in stuff like Alice in Wonderland and stuff.
Yes. They've done as much as they can. Well, this is a massive character assassination too. They want to make this look as crazy as possible. Yeah.
Is that why they put in all that child stuff?
Yes.
Jesus, that's just... So who's the brainchild behind it? Is it the Fallen Angels who's the brainchild behind that stuff?
That's an interesting question. Who is behind the whole thing? Is that what?
Who thought? Who is it? Really Mengele that thought of? Yeah, let's put in the fairy tale stuff.
No, he's not. He's not the head at all. But he's an arm of the Psy War. He was one of the minds behind.
Whose brain thought of that though? Whose brain thought of?
It's more of not just one brain.
Right.
It's a stream of consciousness. There's a stream of consciousness that's doing this, and this particular stream runs through thousands of different people. So you could call it a fallen angel. You could call it that. One particular one is powerful enough to run through, say, 1,000 different people. So 1,000 people one could be working in an office in London. One could be working as a politician in DC. But they're the same people. But it's the same mind. It's a hive mind. They work. That's why they use the beehive symbol.
It's interesting. When I was working with getting in contact with that part of me, somebody was trying to help me, and they said to look behind a door. So somebody from bases, and I looked behind the door, and that part of me was plugged into looked like a kind of being with sort of tendrils, black tendrils that were going inside me. But it was also, I could see that it was connected up to as you were just saying, many others as well.
Yeah, definitely. If you look for any sort of bee symbolism or hive symbolism or buzz, anything to do with bees is the hive mind.
Right.
Well, that's interesting, Max, because I think yesterday we talked about the cell phone engineer from Designer Engineer in the United States who is getting a full download from a beehive consciousness, an insectoid consciousness, because
that's
the whole the digital transmission system is compromising so much life on the planet. But something I'd like to ask is, what about the jinn? What about the indigenous energetic intelligences that were here before humanity arrived? Because they're mad as hell with what's going on.
Yeah, what's happened? And you've also got the shadow beings as well, and they're a consciousness to themselves. But what's happened is because there's been infighting for thousands and thousands of years, but we've come to a point now where they're all aligning. They've decided that fighting is not going to get it done. So they've all aligned together. The Zionists have aligned with the Nazis. Now, if you look at the word Zion, just change the letters around a little bit, and you've got Nazi. So they are actually, I mean, it's as crazy and as insane as that sounds. They are actually the one and the same thing. It's controlled opposition. They weren't really at odds with each other. They're on the same side.
What about the reptilians? Are they good or are they bad? Because I've had lots of connection with them, and sometimes
with any specific type of being, that you're always going to get, because we're living in duality. You're always going to get some that are helpful or positive stream, and some that are negative stream. But they are reptilian. So if you think of what reptilian is, we all have a reptilian brain, the R complex brain, and that part of the brain is the primal part of us. So they are primal, but some of them are evolving. Some of them are evolving out of that. So the ones that are evolving want to try and help us out. So there are good ones, yeah.
Huh, interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, and there are also a hierarchy of reptoids too. There isn't just one type. There are three. That you've got the at the top, the ruling ones are the Orion queens, the ones from Orion, the Orion reptoids. They look like dinosaurs, basically. They're above the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki have been in control of this planet for a pretty long time, but they have to hand over now power to the Orion queens, and they're the ones who are in charge of the whole lot.
What did you call the Orion queens?
Yes.
Why are they called queens?
Because they're female energy. They're negative female energy.
Well, this is what Stuart Swerdlow was saying, that the existing lot are moving out, but the new lot are coming in, but it's not going to make any difference to us. But I'd be interested to ask, Max, you appeared on a TV program on Channel 4 quite recently in the UK. It was The Great UFO Conspiracy.
It's a great show, yes.
It was really
brilliant show. And the wonderful thing about your section of the interview, if anybody can actually get hold of it, I think it must be on YouTube or somewhere by now.
It's actually you can. I found it on Sky the other day. It's on there. It was on there.
On where?
Excellent.
On Sky.
On Sky.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, your interview had a couple of problems. It was bleeped out. Even the questions you were asked were bleeped.
I know.
Would you be able to tell us what you had bleeped out?
Miles, I can't remember. So
I know, but if you could, it would be fascinating.
If we could get it, and you could show it to me, I could tell you.
The viewer should note that the way that it was bleeped.
I was surprised why they bleeped that out. I don't know why they did. There was because perhaps I was touching on things that they didn't want released, Miles.
Well, it's called compliance, but they bleeped it out in such a way. If you are a careful listener.
Yes.
The way they bleeped it was they gave just the rise time of the start of each word and just the close time at the end of each word. So if you're really, really good, you'll be able to pick up what was actually said.
Okay.
So if you listen to that, they've left enough of the word in so that if you could just pick up, you can sort of add.
I think that was done intentionally then.
Yes, absolutely. So the bleep meant that they were compliant, because all television programs under this tyrannical, destructive organization called Ofcom in the UK have to go through a thing called compliance. So that is why so many people who watch established mainstream media get really annoyed when they bring on this idiot skeptic to completely poo-poo everything the other person has said. It's called compliance, and people have got to understand that's part of the law, the Broadcast Act.
I heard him. I heard what he said. He was listing stuff. Back to the Orion reptilians. Why are they feminine? Where's the male gone?
Where's it gone? Okay, so if you want to take out, if they've done this to a number of other planets, okay, so what the mentality of these particular beings is conquer and destroy. That's the way that they think. So if you want to take out and destroy and control the planet, the first thing that you have to do is you have to take out the males. You have to take out the male energy. The positive male energy will fight and defend. Okay, so they are emasculating the males of the planet. First of all, that's the main thing that they're doing. It's kind of apparent. I don't know if you can see.
Oh,
The Bruce Jenner the thing that happened with Bruce Jenner was very, very, very calculated. It was to show the populace that they could take a strong male athlete, an Olympic athlete, and turn him into a female in front of your eyes. They're doing that to once again emasculate the male, and this is being done in worship to the Baphomet.
And Baphomet is female.
The Baphomet is androgynous. They want to create an androgynous race. They want the people of this planet to be the ones that are left. That they want to reduce the population. But the ones that are left, they want to make androgynous.
But you were saying about these Orion reptilians that they're called Orion queens. And Where's the kings? Where's the Orion kings?
This consciousness itself is negative feminine consciousness. I don't know where the males are. Okay, so what I do know is I know that what they are.
Wow, that's interesting. Negative female energy, I've felt myself a victim of it all my life. It's the worst energy. It's far worse.
Negative female energy is hidden. It's all below the surface.
Right.
It's you could call any of the military intelligence agencies negative feminine. Or even the mafia, negative feminine.
Yes.
Anything that is hidden or below the surface is negative female.
Serial killers, their crimes are feminine. I've known that for a long time. Absolutely. And the serial killers themselves, they're always feminine. It's like meeting women. They're like women.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. And what they're doing is they're putting the people of power in positions of power, and they're all they're all very, very feminine. They're all into anything. As you move up through the ranks of the military, you've got to do homosexual acts. That's part of it. Even the rank of colonel. Okay, if you look at the word colonel, it's spelled COLON, and then you have obviously AL at the end. That's colon, right? Oh. Okay, so that's connected to that's connected to that as well. All of the high-ranking anybody high-ranking military has to go through homosexual acts, and also in the entertainment industry, music. It's a must-do thing. That's because this energy is negative female energy that's running this planet.
And are they the Draco reptilians?
Yes, right. They are.
I have to say, to hear that news, I think we've had it, because
I think it's also sort of really apparent if you look very carefully. If you look what's going on, I mean, it's you can sort of see that that's what's happening. I mean, it's quite apparent. Even if you talk about Obama's wife. I don't want to say too much or insult anybody, but Obama's wife, that's a man. And there are many, many celebrities, like I said earlier on, that we're going, that we're worshiping and saying, to, and they are not the gender that we think they are. So that it's very important to mess with the gender. If you look at what's the most famous painting in the world is the Mona Lisa. If you look at the words Mona Lisa, well, the word Mona is an anagram for Ammon. Okay, and that's Ammon-Ra, and Lisa is El-Isa, which is Isis. So that's the union of Ammon-Ra and Isis together. And the picture itself is the union of those two, and it's an androgynous being. So the most famous painting in the world is also of an androgynous being, which is an ode to Baphomet.
Right.
Leonardo da Vinci, who was one of the Grand Masters of the Priory of Sion, also was part of that, and he also was into that as well. So a lot of these figures who we think are great, they are geniuses, but they also are pushing the agenda of turning this race into the human race into an androgynous race, and that's a fact.
Why don't they want us all to be like this negative feminine energy? Well, I guess that does form the negative feminine, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. It does. I've been a victim to that energy, and I can testify that it's almost like having your soul eaten to be a victim of it.
Yes, it is
powerful.
It is very powerful. Yes, it's very, very powerful. Yeah, like I said, if you want to take over a planet and you want to control it, you have to take out the strong male first. So it's taken a long time to do it because the human heart is so strong. And that it's so powerful. So what they're doing is attacking and effeminizing the male, which is then attacks the heart because it holds shame and guilt and sadness, and that all attacks the heart.
Yeah, like these days, even that winner of Celebrity Big Brother was a guy who had, confessed that he'd had sex with a girl and then wiped his backside as he was doing it, and what other vile things did he do? And yes. he won. He was the most popular, which says to, even my son who's 12 said, oh, that guy's disgusting. I mean, but it says to the young males that are coming up to sort of...
It says to them that's okay to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's exactly, and it's all totally contrived and totally planned. And also the Celebrity Big Brother with David Bowie's wife on it. Yeah. And so Bowie then dies while Angie Bowie is on the show. That was also a complete setup. I don't know if you saw the interview with Angie Bowie afterwards, but she said in an interview, she said very, very clearly, he did a very good job at staging his death, didn't he?
Did it?
And Bowie was one of the ones who began the androgynous thing.
Yes.
He affected millions, tens and tens of millions of people worshipped that. It's to do with Jupiter as well. David Bowie, if you look at, so the initials DB are 4-2. So then you have 4-2, which is the glyph for Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter really is the expansive male. What they've done is they have inverted it. Everything they do is inversion. Everything they do is inversion. Okay, so they use David Bowie as a resonance of Jupiter, because Bowie is rainbow. Okay, a rainbow is created when you refract light at 42 degrees. So you have 4-2 again, which is Jupiter. So he's resonating Jupiter, but he's doing it in an inverted way. He's inverting the male by, looking female. He was essentially the most androgynous of them all. And that is the worship again of Baphomet.
And of course, the females are becoming like men. Like even in my neighborhood, where it's supposedly 50 Stepford wives, the women are incredibly butch, and they attack the male children. Like my son was left out of parties because I'm single, but I wasn't the only one. They target anyone they think might be powerful or a gifted child. And they Katie Hopkins them. And it's not funny the way they do it. I mean,
it's horrible.
I said the spirit of Myra Hindley is alive and well in middle class schoolgate mothers. They can literally destroy a child, and they enjoy it. They enjoy doing it.
They get off on it.
Because
so that is the negative female there. That's totally it. Yes, completely. Yeah, what they're doing as well is they're hiding a lot of the males who are in positions of power are actually negative females. They're not male energy. They're not male energy at all. So they're hiding behind a male physical body.
That's scary. It's scary, the whole thing that you've said on the show. I mean, I think it's, number one, it's really massively important.
It's extremely important.
It's terrifying because I've felt that energy. And what I find as well, and I've told, when I've done mainstream interviews, because I've met Brady, I get a lot of them. I said to him, he's a woman, and they don't believe it. They're like, oh, yeah, right, okay, but that's it. And that energy is terrifying. And as well as that, our society doesn't acknowledge it. It's like, oh, it's not there.
Because what we're being done is, if you say anything bad about that, then you get ostracized and you get pushed into the corner. If you say anything about anything to do with transgender, because now you've got celebrities, even like for example, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, they have their child who I think is like 5 or 6 years old, and they're saying that she is transgender already. So that said, because they're the popular couple, that says to the rest of the population, well, then that's okay. There's no way in the world that a child that young would understand yet whether or not what their sexuality is. I don't believe that that's true.
Yeah.
So I think that's extremely wrong to do that. But that's the agenda. That is the agenda, and it's being pushed very fast, very hard, because there's no time left. They have to, this is the great work of ages. This has been going on for it began really at the end of Atlantis. So this final work now is 13,000 years old. And it's coming to an end, and they want to place the capstone on top of the pyramid. So to place the capstone on top of the pyramid, they have to make sure that this populace is shut down, the males are done, and that we have an androgynous population. Because an androgynous population can't fight back.
Yeah. That's scary. Miles, have you got a comment? I'm just sitting here.
Who are you? I am the architect. I created the Matrix. I've been waiting for you.
Why am I here?
You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision, which has led you inexorably here.
You haven't answered my question.
The Matrix is older than you know. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equation.
Choice. The problem is choice.
Right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Be here Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Private Eye Matrix Revealed with Monique Lasan.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we believe in freedom of ideas, freedom of speech, but above all, we believe in freedom of existence through self-reliance. This station is 100% listener-supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for a $100 donation. 35,000 seeds. 25 years in the freezer. Long-term storable, 54 different varieties. So if food prices go crazy, the shit hits the fan, or if you just want to save tons of money every year by creating your own food like I do, grab our seed pack special. Just look for the banner on the homepage at freedomslips.com. Don't be a statistic. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. We need, as humans, to start taking care of ourselves and not depending on the megacorps to provide unhealthy, nasty food. Included in this package is also a DVD with 900 survival and off-grid living documents and the offline home canning how to do everything website all on the DVD. So when you're growing all that food, you know how to can it, store it, preserve it, etc. with all these documents. So thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I hope that you will pick up this package and start learning to be free. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps and freedom is one seed that needs to be planted.
What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
Hi.
Hello, Christine.
Yeah, hi. We're back on air. We're back on air.
We got Sethicus as well.
Is he with us still? Seth, are you there? He's not there.
I think he's just getting his headphones. Whilst he gets online, this very, very, very important new information, which has been delivered to me by a researcher regarding gates, dimensional gates, and the Vatican. And this is about a gate in Ireland, which is on an island on a lake called Loch Derg. Now, what it seems that St. Patrick and the so-called Roman Church was doing in Ireland was to shut down all controlled human access to the gates all across Ireland, the so-called getting rid of the serpent.
Well, Ireland is an extension of Egypt. So
yes, absolutely. The DNA of the people who in the British Isles are closer. This whole thing about Ireland, Land of the Pharaohs, which is a book we've talked about before.
Yes.
But crucially, there's one gate which has been copied, transferred to another island in the same lake, and that's where people are all shown. This is where these standing stones are. But this gate is the actual gate on Loch Derg. The chambers there are a direct access to the Fae, to the Jinn, through a portal, an active portal. And this particular researcher has been there, but what the Vatican has had access to is they copied that gate. It's located very close to the Vatican, the version that the Vatican uses, which means that the Christian Church has been directly accessible or controlled by the serpent energies or the
one sec, Miles, Seth, hi, we've got Seth Ikesboza with us. So hi, Seth. You're can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, hi, welcome to the show. I was trying to get you to.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, hi. I don't know. I can hear you, Seth. I can hear your mobile. So feel free, join in. It's like a round table. But I can hear everything that you're doing. So I don't know if you want to mute. If someone else is talking, press the mute button. Then when they finish, go in with what you want to say by unmuting.
Yeah, I don't have a mute button on this end.
Oh, okay. Don't worry. Just be aware we can hear. Everyone can hear everything. Any
I think it's a little blue button at the bottom of the screen on Skype. If you put your mouse down to the bottom, there's a little button comes up with a microphone. That's how you mute.
It has a line across it, Seth. There's a circle with a microphone, and there's a cross on it or a line on it. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's normally hidden. You have to put your mouse at the bottom of the screen.
Okay,
So
don't worry.
Cool. Everything's cool on your end, like.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can hear. Just be aware we can hear. Everyone can hear anything. Miles, where is this? Seth, thanks for joining us, and we're just talking
hey,
at
Seth,
the moment.
how are you?
Good, Max.
Nice to finally hear you.
Yes, you too, man. Good.
Good. Thank you for your support, mate.
Yeah, man. Do you I'm just waking up, you guys.
Okay, sure.
The thing is, for me and Max, it's broad daylight in the middle of the morning here,
yes,
midday. But for Sethicus, I think it's
3 a.m. or something.
It's 3 in the morning.
Miles, you were saying about this this gateway. Whereabouts in Ireland is it?
This is Loch Derg.
Is that Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland?
It's on the area of Ireland which is very close to the north. It's the west of Ireland. The lake is actually, I think, partly in the north. It's sort of bordering on the area where Sligo is, Donegal.
Okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Donegal. I know.
Yeah, the thing about this chamber is the so-called Celtic cross is not a cross. It's a passage chamber into an inner chamber with 3 sub-chambers.
Yes.
When the user goes into the passage the passage chamber, you then become the 4th entity to exist in that chamber. Now, the basic principle of this is with a certain scalar resonance, and I won't tell you the frequency, it will then be able to activate that chamber, and then you then gate into the other realms. Now, this is the thing about the Earth. The humans are in the physical domain, but there's a lot of other entities and civilizations here, and the so-called humans have been causing a lot of trouble to those beings.
Yeah, didn't they wipe out the Fae? They wiped out the Fae,
So
didn't
the
they?
Fae are there.
They are
They're
still here. They're just in a different frequency.
Yes. Yeah, the
right.
Fae, this is the point that there are people literally disappearing. There are cattle mutilations, all sorts of things going on. There's one farm in Ireland has had over 500 cattle taken by these beings coming from the other dimensions. The point about it is that the gates are fully accessible and controllable by those beings in the other realms, but because the church destroyed the feminine spirals,
Yes.
there's feminine spiral energies in all the gates, bar one in Ireland, were destroyed so that humans couldn't access them or control them or close them. That means that the church has been directly involved with entities from other dimensions for the wholesale enslavement and destruction of all
What they're
humanity.
doing, Miles, is they're destroying the positive feminine energy, which is the compassionate energy, the compassion,
Yes.
empathy,
Yes.
understanding.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what they're getting rid of, and
That's-
empowering the negative feminine energy.
Absolutely. Now, to have that described to me by a researcher, now this guy got to, he's been involved with research because I ran a radio station on the Irish border, and my main station guy that co-created it went missing. We now know how and where he went. He wasn't taken by ETs. He was taken what we think is the Fae. Now, the Fae is those who become entranced. What happens is they actually take you from your body.
I'm very familiar with the Fae.
Me too.
Yeah.
Very familiar with them. I know them, some of them.
And it's characterized as the little people at the bottom of the garden. All
They're
that
not
sort of-
like
Yes.
that. They're not like that.
No, exactly.
In
So-
fact, the artist Brian Froud, he draws the Fae and he lets them use him for his art, and he creates portals for the Fae. And I've spoke to him, because when I saw his paintings, I knew they were real. And he said to me, they come through him and they do the sacred geometry, and then they paint the faces over the top, and you can see them. His book, Good Fairy, Bad Fairy, it's just alive, so you can meet the Fae in the books of Brian Froud, especially Good Fairy, Bad Fairy. I've spoke to them too, Max.
Yes.
They don't like humans. They really
They
really
like some of them. Some of them. But yes, in general, no. They think that they are
Evil.
sort of brutes.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, they're right. I mean,
They are right.
Yeah, I mean, the greater human beings, we are allowing our leaders, we're allowing people in our multinational corporations and whatever, we are allowing this to happen.
We've handed over our power, Miles.
Yes, we have got collective
We've been
responsibility
manipulated to hand over our power, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Well, being tricked, following orders isn't. Being ignorant of the law is not an excuse.
I agree.
We
All
have got to
right.
grow up.
Yes.
We've got to grow up. We've got to take responsibility,
Yes.
and we've got to take action, and we've got to do something very quickly. And this applies to every single physical human being on this planet, no matter where you think you may come from. No one here has an excuse.
Yes, responsibility is actually the key to all of it. Yes, and taking responsibility for it. And there's a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, I'm so you did this to me. Look what they've done to me. Look what's happened to me. You've done this. You've done this." Well, no, that's not true. The person has created it themselves because they've handed over their power. So it's time to take responsibility and take the power back for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So
And I think that might be happening with the president's elections at the moment. I mean, they've got to realize.
I don't
they're
think
very
there's going to
limited
be
time.
another. I had this strong feeling that this is the end of America in a lot of ways, Miles.
This information is coming from so many sources. On the 28th of February, yesterday, there was a massive release of carbon monoxide. Magma-induced carbon monoxide has gassed out. It's so large a cloud of carbon monoxide.
Which state? Where is that happening?
It's covering completely California. This is a gas cloud of carbon monoxide so large it covers the whole state of California. Now, this is vented up into the atmosphere. There's another very large venting.
That's poison in California. Then
It's
poisoning
totally
the people
poisoning,
in
but
California.
yeah, but they'd be dead right now if it was sufficient toxicity. But
yes,
the point is that this is gaseous carbon monoxide gas vented by pressures from disturbed magma. There's another very large cloud a little bit due northeast of California. And this happened pretty rapidly on Sunday.
I heard about that.
And we are speaking as of today, Monday, the 29th of February, so we'll have to see how things pan out.
Is it being shown on mainstream news?
No, but it's a clip that I managed to put on Facebook yesterday.
Okay, I'm with you. I hear that. California and Texas are going first. I mean, that's the information that I had.
Well, from a number of sources, due to the United States people letting their leaders do what they're doing, and we include all the corporate responsible individuals running multinationals, poisoning our air, poisoning our atmosphere, killing us with poisoning, food, everything. Yeah. The initial data was 95% of the United States was going to go down. That has been pushed up to 100%. So, guys, you've got to take responsibility. You've got to do something about this, otherwise you're toast. Now, this is coming from too many sources. There are too many red lights on the dashboard to ignore this.
I have there's a lot of people I care about very much in California, in Texas. So in this. So what would you do? I mean, how do you counter that?
It's a conscious weapon. We can, with positive healing intent and the blessings of our heart.
Yes.
Collectively send some kind of triggering mechanism to put a spoke in the wheel to stop this.
Okay, the fact that symbolically Donald Trump is even being considered as a president in the U.S. is it's symbolic in and of itself. The name Trump is very, very specific too. Donald Trump is Dutch royalty. Okay, he's been bankrupt so many times, and the Dutch bail him out. He's 100% a figurehead and not this whiz businessman that he's portrayed to be. He's a placeman and he's Dutch royalty.
It's interesting. They just released that roast of Donald Trump. We're just seeing it on our TVs now. It was filmed in 2011, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Very funny. Very funny.
Yeah. Seth, have you got anything to add on the conversation?
I'm here.
Excellent. We were
just kind of moving around a little bit, you guys.
Okay. We were just discussing about the Draco reptilians from Orion and the fact that they're the negative feminine energy, and they're destroying us using various hidden poisonous ways.
To the moon. So the moon is negative female energy.
Right.
It's the hidden, yeah. So the moon is used as to cycle and harvest human souls, and then it goes round and harvests human souls, takes them, goes through, and then it gives amnesia, and then places them back in the body. So the moon is not a natural moon. We know that now. I mean, anybody who does any research knows that the moon is not a natural moon to the Earth, or a natural.
Well, Max, the beings which were being made here in Boscombe Down, Porton Down in Wiltshire, were these are some kind of transgenic controllable beings, were for use, quote, on the lunar base. And I'm talking to John Lear tomorrow night about 1 million people on bases on the moon now.
Yes. The reason that that NASA don't show photographs of the Earth is because there is so much stuff going on. There's so many ships and bases that are just outside our stratosphere that they couldn't show a photograph because it would show what's really going on. And, I had a conversation with you, Miles. The rockets that we see go up that are supposed to go to the moon wouldn't have the capacity or the energy to get to the moon. So those rockets don't go to the moon. They have other ships and other technology that gets to the moon.
Exactly. What do we do about this, being pushed back down to Earth and given the amnesia? Can we stop that somehow?
Okay, so we're stuck in multiple time loops. Obviously, time is not linear. It's time is not anything really. There is no such thing as time. But if we're going in 3D, if we're talking in 3D, we're going in time loops. Right. We're going round and round in time loops, and we're not being able to look at what's happened and change it when we die. We're not allowed to look what's happened and change it and move on to something new. We essentially come back down again, and we have the same characters in our lives, just with different costumes.
Yes.
And we're doing this over and over and over again. And while being used as batteries, essentially, human beings are being used as batteries to power a false reality here. This is a false reality. They're controlling the subconscious and making, because they can't create reality. These beings don't have a central core, which is a divine core that can create reality. So what they do is they use the human beings, manipulate the subconscious to create the false reality that we're in.
Yeah, they're getting us to dig our own graves, basically.
So, yes, essentially, yes.
They're using our consciousness, our manifesting ability through the use of trickery.
Reality we're in.
Yeah, and they use the fear and well, enough said.
I suppose you can look at them if we want to try and see them clearly. To look at serial killers, they grab a girl or a child off the street, they get them back to their house, and they slowly torture them, and they have for hours and days, and then they bury them. If they can, they bury them face down and then dance on their grave. That's a
microcosm of what they're doing to us on a big picture.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Well done, Max. Yeah.
Totally
exactly. So
yes.
It's horrible. That energy, I have come across it. And when I was sitting opposite the serial killer Kenneth Bianchi, he manifested that, and it was like 1,000 razor blades were coming for me all at once. It was like something wanted to eat me. I felt, that it wanted to eat me. Indeed, they do eat us as well.
We're food for them.
We're food.
Yeah. We're batteries and food.
Yeah, 900 children in Ireland alone, one care home, 900 children hacked and killed.
And even shaving us, they shave parts of us.
Children go missing a year on this planet and are not found. Over 1 million children disappear.
Across Britain alone, there are signs across Britain alone on railway stations. 140,000 children go missing every year.
That is an unbelievable figure. Unbelievable. And a lot of, I would say 80% are taken and used for food.
Yeah, I mean, this is published in a railway station. They put signs up saying, and people just walk past and ignore it.
I don't,
Did you guys ever see the video? It's called Blood Sacrifice for McDonald's.
No, go ahead. Tell me about it, Seth.
Well, it's this particular Zionist named Finkelstein. I forget his first name, but it's all out in the open now, man. They're letting you know what they're doing with what the children, the victims of this situation, and it's pretty much being told that all the I'll just say it, it's really graphic. All the dead bodies that are being used in sacrifice rituals and stuff like that is being ground up and put into the meat, and then put out.
Yeah. For them to be able to sustain a physical appearance here, they have to consume the human fluids, right?
Right. And they got to get humanity on a certain frequency, so that we become, the conduits for these entities, man. And that's exactly one of the ways that they're doing it. And yeah.
If you're not afraid, you guys
are talking about volcanoes exploding and stuff like that, but everything is reaching a boiling point, and if we don't get it now, it's not going to happen.
There's a window now, right, Seth? I agree with you. There's a window opening now.
2 years, man, to really start squeezing, because we got the chokehold on everything. The evidence is all there. It's all out in the open now. Okay, What are we going to do?
That's what I'm saying. The veil is almost completely lifted, and
Right.
if you don't have the eyes to see what's going on, then you pretty much are going to have to go and do these cycles again on another plane, just like this one,
Right.
because you haven't learned the lessons.
Right, and that's all out in the open now, man. Max, I wanted to talk to you about something, man.
Go
One
ahead.
of the first videos that I ever seen, an interview that you, I think it was one of the basis videos, man.
Yeah.
About a year ago. I think you were walking around London somewhere.
Yeah.
Going from shop to shop or whatever.
Yeah,
but you
the basis 37.
Okay.
Right. You mentioned something in this particular video, man. That it's a concept that I understand, but I never heard anybody else speak of it because it's been made a cult.
Go ahead.
But what you said, man, you said without the dragon and the key, there's no getting out.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. That's a whole nother thing to talk about. Yes.
Right.
Yes. That's a big
dragon. And how do we get out? I was looking for keys as well. People wonder why I was interviewing Michael Aquino, and it's because my alter was trying to attack him in the astral to look for keys. Had him round the throat, and I said, "Tell me where the keys are." I mean, what are these keys?
I wanted to ask Max, what is that to you, man? What is the dragon and the key, man?
Okay, so when any monarch in the UK takes the throne, the Archbishop of Canterbury is the one who stands in front of the throne and says his piece. He has words to say, and he stands in front of the monarch, whether it's a king or a queen. And one of the last lines that is said is, "And the dragon gives you your power." Okay, this is what's said. Okay, so dragon is representative of Draco. Okay, when I said key, it can be a physical. If it can be a physical key, you can hold on to a physical key. You can find a physical key, but the key itself is what I meant is an ankh. Okay, you know what an ankh is?
Yes.
Okay, an ankh. When you see in Egyptian times when they're holding an ankh is actually a male and female symbol in one, right? So it's
that's the mystery, man.
Yes, it is, and that allows time travel. It also opens portals and doorways. Okay, so it would allow you to leave this frequency. Right. It would allow you to step out of this frequency.
Right, and that's the real mystery with all of this. Male and female need to come together.
Exactly, and that's why I said about the Mona Lisa.
Without that happening, man, with the manipulation of polarity, it's not happening.
Well, you know what what we're doing right now, even this conversation we're having right now, it seems like it's only small and affecting a few people. It's not. It's resonating massively. It's resonating through way more than you could possibly imagine, out through the stratosphere. So, but by doing this, we're changing timelines. We're changing the way that people think. Even people who are not listening to it, they're being affected by it.
Right.
So let's. Let me go over what you just said, Max. So basically, the ankh is the male. I'll Google it later. It's the male and female symbol into one. So basically, we have to find our soulmates before we can escape.
That's an interesting one. I don't know if that you have to do that. I'm not sure if you have to do that, but
that's there. That's there, but it's the principle.
Exactly. It's more about the
principle of polarity that needs to be brought into balance on a massive scale. A massive scale, not just within the individual, but with everybody. And it must first happen within. And people, they really do need to wake up. It's in our faces now because the playing field's even now. The playing field's even, and they're being called out, and they're going to have to come out of the shadows. And
that's why they're trying to invert sexuality. That's why they're trying to do that. By inverting sexuality, they're taking away the divine masculine and feminine. The Ankh itself represents the divine male and female in one thing.
Right.
Okay. So once we understand and can be a divine male and a divine female throughout the populace, then we sort of we raise the vibration and we step out of this time loop.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. And how do we do that? How do we become divine male and divine female?
You got to go through the process.
Got to go into your heart.
So go through the what?
You got to go through the process of initiation, and you got to get in, and you got to heal your own systems
inside of yourself.
It's a lot of
it's the bringing of the heart. The heart is blocked. You bring the heart with unity of the being, the rest of your whole being, the heart.
Yes, because they can't get it. That's like I said earlier. That's the thing. That's the final thing they're trying to do. They've got to do that. Okay, for example, I did a post on that. When with Kurt Cobain, it's just an example here. He was somebody that the population, millions and millions and millions of people loved. And then he didn't kill himself, by the way. He was killed when he was murdered. The effect on the human heart, it was damaged collectively, damaged very, very powerfully. They want to do that. So 9/11, when 9/11 happened, it smashed the human heart again. So they're setting up a contrived incidents that will attack the human heart.
That Madeleine McCann going missing
again. Once again, same thing. Yes. All these pedophile rings. All these pedophile rings are also an attack on the human heart, because what they're doing is trying to destroy innocence. Innocence is when you're a child, you are most connected to heart. That's when you're free. You're most free. You are not bound by all the crap that happens as you get older. So by attacking and doing the things they do to children, they are destroying the innocence of the human being. Because remember, we are a collective. We are one thing, just broken into a billion pieces. So when you harm one thing, you're actually harming all.
They're doing a lot of amputations as well. Like my son was reading a book. They read these Darren Shan books, which are he's an occultist. He's a Satanist. He's even called his son Dante. And in the books that was read to my 11-year-old son as compulsory, and the head of English said they've been reading it for years now. This particular book, Cirque du Freak, and in this book, there's mutilations, there's blood suckings, there's blood spraying over the boys' faces. The boy then decides that being a normal member of his family is boring, and he wants to go with this older man and become a demon. So he climbs in a coffin, and then the older man comes and takes him, and he climbs on the back of the older man as the older man like sucks his fingers in a very sort of in and out the mouth way, and then they fly off together and become a serial killer. Now I tracked down Shan and I said, "You're disgusting." I said, "I want you to get all your books and take them out of schools." And he said, "Oh, I believe in Christ. My books are window dressing. The demons are window dressing." I said, "Come on, at the end of it, the boy ends up a serial killer." And he said, "No, they didn't serial kill the guy. They just sucked his blood. A jogger in the park.
That's all right then. Huh.
Yeah, that's all right then. What a piece of shit that is." Darren Shan.
What they do a lot is they do the recreation of what happened, because then we're going through a reset of what happened in Egypt with Set and Osiris and
Max?
Well, essentially, any species that allows its children to be harmed, any species that does not protect its young, will terminate. So
The Young
Human
Unprotected, not with Red that. And the next book in the series was Tunnel of Blood, where, there was a little boy in there that I'd complained about at the first school who was watching pornography. He was a little Polish boy. He was going on his laptop watching homosexual pornography. Now, I complained to the school when he told my son, but seemingly everybody knew about it. The secretary at the school, who had a boy the same age, she said, "Oh, I just told my son to stay away from him." And I said, "What about the poor boy that he's doing that? What is he going to grow up to be like if he's doing that at age 10, for God's sake?" And that same boy, my son noticed, was lapping up Darren Shan and is reading ahead Tunnel of Blood and whatever filth that man puts out. And schools ignorantly, heads of English, let that go ahead. What I said to that head of English, "Have you read that?" But he's a best-selling author. Okay, right. Okay. I think we've lost Max, Miles.
He'll be back.
Okay. Are you still? Yeah, Seth, you're ahead. So, Seth, do you want to carry on with what Max was saying, the recreation of what happened with Set? What happened there?
Well, the thing is about this realm is that we're all living on timelines and feedback loops that just keep on repeating themselves because we have been essentially trapped within the Ouroboros. You're talking about the Saturn moon matrix concept. But yeah, keeping humanity in cycles of reincarnation to basically harvest the energy, like I've been talking about, harvesting the genetics, and that's the whole game. That's what death is. We're not meant to die. And the hour that we are in right now, it's very strategic, because those along with myself and what we've been doing, in these higher realms, it's taken, I'll say, 15 years to get to where we are, and the things that I have faced on this path, coming up into this point, we have made much progress, and everything that.
Yeah, hi Max.
That was really bizarre. That was bizarre.
Everything that's happened in those realms is getting ready to start to manifest here, and I'm talking about the progress, okay? Because all of this is meant to end, but it's going to take a certain amount of people that are really going to see it for what it is and start, putting themselves in the position to become conduits for the higher force to work through, because it's not coming through the clouds, people, it's coming through you.
Exactly.
That's the function of this get together. That's the function of this.
Can I, Miles? Hang on. Max, you got yourself there. You were talking about recreation of Set.
My phone buzzed and cut me out. Yeah, so that was strange.
We were talking about I just written recreation of what happened in Set. What can you just?
Yeah. Okay. So what they do is they do a. So between Osiris and Set, they're doing a replay of that now. The war. That's why you have the Temple of Set. Anyway, so what happens? Set cut Osiris into 13 pieces and scattered his body across the planet, right? And then Isis found all the pieces. She only found 12 of them. She didn't find the phallus, and then she created the phallus out of gold. But what they do is they do rituals over and over of it's very nasty. They chop. They'll find a particular victim of a particular DNA, because they have to choose people of particular DNA, and then they will chop them into 13 pieces. And so what you were talking about, cutting limbs off and everything. Well, they do that as a ritual. Just to tell you, okay. So when Isis found the 12 pieces and she molded the phallus into gold, she copulated with the put together Osiris, and then Horus was born, and Horus is Osiris reborn, and then the war continued between Horus and Set. Set then tricked Horus and took his left eye. He pulled his left eye out. So when you have this symbolism of everybody covering their eye, or you see it everywhere, covering that one eye, that is a ode to Set, saying, "Ha ha, we got Horus's eye," because Horus is the sun god, who is supposed to be he is symbolic of the sort of savior. So he's like the savior. So when you see the covering of the eye, it's like it's saying Set it's saying, Set took the good guy's eye. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I had no idea of that. I didn't even have any idea.
It took your pineal away so that you can't see what's really going on. That's another way to see it.
It's one eye.
Well,
that one eye is the one.
Hang on. I think we're.
System would fail if there wasn't something needs to be said.
Interesting.
If you talk again.
I can't hear Max.
Miles?
No, you're going off a little bit. Miles, I can hear me. Max?
Yeah. Miles?
Just.
Yeah, it's a standard. We use our intention to clear the line. We've got some scuttlers on the line.
As soon as I started talking about the Egyptian thing, everything shut down.
Yeah, it's intentional, so we can use our intention to fight it back. Do you know
why? Because that's exactly what is going on at the moment.
Yeah.
It's all coming out in the open, and I'm personally going to call them out on my ends because it's we already know everything that's going on. What's the solution, right?
Okay, so the solution is
and what you talk about and what you're talking about with the dragon and the key, man. That's
There's a lot more I could tell you about that. Actually, right. Seth, that's like a maybe an hour show. Also, Miles, there's a whole big thing I'd like to talk to you about with the Krays, because the Kray brothers are very symbolic. They also the K, the letter K is very important. K is the 11th letter of the alphabet. Okay, so when you have KK, that is 1111. And 1111 creates a Stargate, okay? So when you have 1111, it opens a Stargate or a portal.
Yes, it's interesting Max, it's interesting the resonant frequency for that portal in Ireland is 110 hertz. No, sorry, cycles.
110.
Yeah, 110 cycles per second, not hertz. Acoustic wave, okay?
Okay, so then you have 11. So then you've got there's a Stargate there.
So why the Krays important? I don't understand.
The Krays are Kathy Morgan did a lot of work on this, and Angela Powers also done some work on this.
But what does it mean? I don't understand.
They're part of the MK Ultra program.
Oh, okay.
They're both MK'd. Then one of them is connected to deeply entrenched in the pedophile ring that's going on in the UK. The one that connects Cliff Richard, the one that connects Savile, the one. I mean, I don't want to. I could say all the names.
Why do they keep bringing out these movies?
Well say them. You might, Max. I would suggest you say them before this broadcast. I got a phone call from a local will making company, and then. That's a hint. If anybody, just in case,
you can say them, Max. Go ahead.
Say them now, Max.
Yes.
Use the present.
I'm a little bit reserved on saying too many of them, that Miles, because
I think it's
the
fair.
Last time I did on this show, I started to get a lot of how would you say, being severely watched, but. A lot of them we know. A lot of the people that Bruce Forsyth.
I think Max, what you're basically saying is just about anybody that's appeared on BBC television as a primary entertainer.
The main ones, are deeply involved in it. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about deeply. You cannot get a position where you're doing that unless you go through the specific rituals. You can't. Remember, all of the BBC really is run by MI6. It's the BBC is an MI6 run. The NHS and the BBC are run by MI6. And MI6,
yeah, well, Max Christine is an MI6 front agent.
Okay, that's I sense that. I'm connected.
You said that, Christine.
Well, I'm connected to that, Miles, aren't I? So, MI7, is the Zygote program. We were talking earlier about creating the creation of babies and putting them into the womb. Well, that's the MI7 Zygote program. Okay, there's not just MI5 and MI6. There's MI7, MI8, and MI9.
Yeah, there's all those.
Okay? And each one of those are a specific thing to connected to doing what MI7 was trying to do was put wombs in men. Okay, they were trying to make it so that men could have children. So to basically get rid of any of the natural positive female. And there are people out there in the entertainment field. I'm not going to name names. The entertainment field and political field who have wombs, who have babies who are males. And that, once again, is connected to the Baphomet. Eliphas Levi was the one who drew and created the modern-day Baphomet. The one which is the goat of Mendes, where with the hand pointing down and the hand pointing up, and has both genitalia, right? Eliphas Levi. He was a French magician in the 18th century. Crowley says that he was him in a past life. This is he was around, and it's a continuation of the work that who painted the Mona Lisa, Leonardo da Vinci did. Da Vinci again wasn't this fantastic man. He was also part of this great work of ages, which is to get rid of the positive female. Okay, when you go into Bohemian Grove, there is a sign that says "Weaving spiders do not enter here. Weaving spiders may not enter here." That means women may not enter, because they feel that the female is the positive feminine is a danger to the project that's going on.
And the divine feminine has been relentlessly attacked throughout the eons, man, because they do fear that power. They do fear that power, but that, people in my circle, and obviously we've been a network. We've spoken a little bit online, man.
Yeah.
It's the culmination of everything that's happened throughout the eons has led up to this point. It's very strategic what's happened.
Yes.
But we need to recognize the hour that we are in, and
we need to recognize that we are the ones who have the power. They've made us feel like we haven't. It's we're the ones who are the creators. They aren't. They can't create.
Right. They can't do what we can.
They've made us,
and that's why they want to write in on certain.
Say that again, Seth.
I keep cutting out. It keeps cutting out on me.
It's all right, brother. Go ahead.
I was just going to say.
Hello, Max, Seth?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. Miles is cutting out. Seth
it's all right.
is cutting out.
We're doing good, Christine. We're all right.
Normal service will be resumed in 30 seconds.
I don't know why.
Use our intentions to break through this veil.
So going back to the gods, Max,
Yes.
it's interesting that I had Mike Heiser on, who's a biblical scholar, and he was talking about in the Bible and in the old books, there is there's many gods, there's many of these lesser gods who launched an attack on the main creator, and the Vatican, they've cut them all out, but they're all there and they're all warring, and we can't.
Do you know all the gods are here now, right now, in physical bodies? Every single one of them.
Really?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because I do. I know because there's just some things that are already encoded in my cells when I was born. But they're all here now for this change that's going to go on now. Because nothing like this has ever happened before. So they've all incarnated down here now to go through this change, to experience it. Because the experience we're about to go through is like nothing else that's ever happened before.
Interesting. So where are the gods now? If the lesser gods are here, I mean, where's the overall god?
The overall God. The overall God is everything, isn't it? The overall God is just pure love that runs through every single thing.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, Seth, you're there. Sorry, it sounded like you hung up.
Wow. No, I'm not hanging up. It's interference, straight up.
Miles, are you there too?
Folks, rather than waste time saying, are we here? Because we've only got about 8 minutes left, just say what you got to say and keep it quick. Okay?
There we go.
So back to... Okay.
And this will be published as a basis 37.
I would like to say that I want to say that Miles and I are speaking in Poland, in Warsaw, on April the 22nd at a global conference, which is going to be a big platform to put out what we're talking about now. And I think that that's going to be a big step forward. And I think it's going to be a massive shift and change. So
this is very important. It's in Warsaw, the Polish have woken up. They're really, really keen to find out more information about this. There's important reasons for that, which I think, Max, we discussed earlier, but involved certain things that the Germans, the so-called Nazis, did.
It's
but also there's a very good colleague, very important. There's a guy called Kieran Lee Perrin, who's a brilliant man in Croydon. It was really good to see you two meet for the first time. Yes. He's one of the TIs in England. He's got a head full of implants. He can prove it. And he helped paint this house here in Devizes, the middle of it. It's just outstanding.
So where can people get tickets for that then?
This is online. It's in Poland. It's in Warsaw, and that's a very good point. It's the global.
Well, you can go to if you can get Madeline. What's Madeline's last name, Miles?
And Nemo. I'll put this up on the link on this on the basis, which is going to go up as a basis 37.
Excellent.
Okay,
Excellent.
Yeah. Put that up.
It's going to go up as a basis 37 because Max spoke. That's really a big Max basis, so it puts it all in one place.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be brilliant.
So it's fascinating what we've come to, and just to say quickly, you can reach me as Christine Joanna Hart Show. Reach me on Facebook, Christine Joanna Hart, and if you want to donate, my PayPal account is to keep me on air. My PayPal account is warnernews@sky.com, and please find me on Facebook. And on Wednesday, my next show, we're going to have Mike Heiser, and Mike Heiser is a biblical scholar who's just published his book, The Unseen Realm, and it's all about these ancient gods that we've come to the conclusion at this. We're talking about these lesser gods and the wars about the lesser gods. And he was saying actually that it's Shaitan doesn't exist. Shaitan is actually the word for attacker. And
or the or the adversary.
Yeah, and the what I didn't realize is it's one of the lesser gods that is causing all the trouble here. There was a covenant, I think something to do with the Garden of Eden, between this lesser god, and this lesser god is called the what is it called? The Lord of Death. I don't know which one. Have you heard of that, Max? Lord of Death?
The Lord of Death. You'd have to give me the name of it. There's lots that could go under that name.
Oh, right. He's one of the gods. There's probably many different names for him. But, I didn't even know that there was such a thing as lesser gods. And I went to my priest down at the Catholic Church and said, I didn't know there was lesser gods. I was brought up there was only one God, and you weren't even allowed to say there might be other gods.
It would be, how would you define the word God, though, really? We're talking about somebody who has more powers than a normal person.
I think the gods, they're just nearly as powerful.
We've spoken of this, Christine, on our last episodes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nearly as powerful as God himself. I mean,
yes,
powerful. I mean, we're
this
a lot.
This is a very strategic hour that we are in, a very poignant moment, and I'm calling for alliance, straight up, because without us coming together, without male and female coming together like it is on this show, those of us that know the difference, those of us that have been through the trials and have been through the fire to come up into this point.
I think time. I have to echo this statement from the Russians that Valery Uvarov says exactly the same. We've got to come together with our heart. Globally, forget the politics of petty little countries and petty little landlords who run these little fiefdoms. The human family of all different wonderful diversity must come together.
Yes, through center heart. Yes, centering yourself through heart. Yes, absolutely. I just want to say one other thing. I do readings, and I do work in readings. So if anybody wants to work with me on that, then just contact me through Facebook. So I'm just putting that out there.
Excellent, Max. Do people have to pay for that, or
there's donations? It's whatever anybody can donate.
Right.
Excellent.
And I'm going to be offering my services too here in the near future. I've been very busy working on my end. I got a couple projects I'm working on, but yes, this is.
I think
this is it.
Yeah, we are dealing with a spiritual process, but in this real world, fiscal elements are required, and that's the bottom line. Good luck. God bless everybody.
God bless.
Goodbye,
thanks very much.
That was. Thank you very much, guys. That was a wonderful show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks everyone, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Take care. God bless.